people are like they are not like attached to anybody. Like they don't if you are not attached to anyone, you don't know how to love. If you don't know how to love, you don't know how to sacrifice. Like I think it all comes together. Like I think when you love somebody, you want to work things out and you make some compromises because it's important relationship. You have to do that in hospital, work environment, business, anywhere. There are policy, there are rule, there are things you have to sacrifice, right? I believe that doing a job or like doing a business is sacrificing. The biggest sacrifice anybody is doing is their time because they are sacrificing their time to make the living. So you're doing the biggest sacrifice by working for somebody or following a company rules or whatever. So I noticed one thing that all these selfish people and self-centered people, they are master at not having any attachment to people. Then they don't care hurting somebody or walking out because they don't have that attachment. I think that's one thing I see. Like they don't really get attached to anyone
No.
except materials, like things that they want, like
Right.
car, because it's about them. But they are not attached to anyone.
But that's
So didn't Buddha also like taught us kind of in a way to be selfish and not get attached to anyone? Because if you think about it, Buddha had a wife, Buddha had kids, and you can say anything you want, but as a wife, I mean, you can say like, oh yeah, he's doing a greater good, he found enlightenment or whatever. But if I was his wife and I was his kid, there are obligations. There are something the wife would want. There are something the kid would want. So did he fail as a father? Did he fail as a husband? Like maybe in some kind of needs and want he did because he chose himself. Like he went to God his enlightenment. And I always question that. So I'm like, did Buddha teaching also taught how to be selfish? Same. I just thought.
So, multiple questions in one paragraph. Let me address the first one. The Buddha left Rahula and his wife Yashotara because he was afraid of the cycle of birth and death,
Rebirth.
rebirth, and aging and sickness and decay, just the cycle of the numerous life cycles that he realized this is going to repeat itself. When is it ever going to stop? And so you don't even know the amount of effort that they tried to get him to come back home. They cried. The king wrote letters like that. The king wrote letters that when David reads it from out of the book that I gave her, David would cry because I cried. I read it and I was like, the king pleaded. The king was like, I'm your father, you are my only son. Can't you see that this is ripping my heart out to watch you leave the palace in that way? I've given you everything since you were young, and yet you've given everything up, and you're sleeping underneath a tree, you're begging for food, we have to find this food here in the palace. He would cry. And of course, the Buddha responded many times. He says, I understand your pain and suffering because I'm leaving. But you must see the greater picture of this and the greater suffering for all of humanity if I do not leave and attain enlightenment myself. Okay? So I think I don't want to spoil it, just like the movie. I want you to read after she finish it. Don't tell them either. Let them read it because then after you read it, all of you will become Buddhists. I swear, all of you will become a disciple of the Buddha once you've read it. Okay, the second thing is the definition of selfishness. It's a difficult thing, the balance, right, of loving, sacrificing, caring for another human being, but not attached to them. So, like, what does that mean? Okay, so let's use example me and Sam, right? Because we're within close quarters with each other, or me and you, or me and Prisha. So, in front of me are beautiful human beings, smart, intelligent, have things going for you, goal oriented, future praise and promise for the entire world yet to embrace. I value each and every single one of you exactly for who you are, the qualities that God have given you. I enjoy every single moment with each and every single one of you. And I like to spend more time with you. and I cherish every moment. I, I am cautioned, and this is where the definition comes in. I am cautioned to see three things in all of you. In all of you, in anything. Can I see the fudge for a second? That's a good example during this talk. And also this fudge that you all gave today for us. So what are those three things? That is, that all of you and this brownie is not going to last forever. That it is subject to change, and it is rare. It is not always going to be satisfying. It's satisfying tonight, but maybe tomorrow someone's going to add less sugar or more sugar and try to kill us. You all are subject to change. Every 5 years you will change. 5 to 7 years you will change. Okay, your body will also change. If you look back 5 years ago, who were you? Totally different than who you are today. Then the third thing is, rarely are each and every single one of you under my control. Even if I wanted you to study something, you're not going to do it. Even if I wanted something good for you and tell you, I can't control all of you. And if I could control all of you, I can't control you all the time. So that's the practice of the non-self. When I see these three things in you, in this brownie, in this phone, I'm no longer attached. So if you die tomorrow, I realize that you have completed your life cycle according to karma. What helps me not attach onto you or anybody else is the teachings on karma. Is that if karma wants you, it will take you. That's the biggest fear we have when it comes to attachment. Attachment is wanting something to last forever and not change. I love you. I don't want you to change. I want you to be with me forever. It's usually in love. That's the correlation with attachment. But anyone can die in this room at any moment in given time, including myself. That's why in the Theravadan world we say don't attach onto the teacher, don't attach onto anybody or anything, and don't even attach onto the teaching. Don't even attach onto peace. If you sat and you glimpsed a little bit of nirvana, a little bit of peace, don't attach onto it, because the Buddha says not even peace will last forever.
Yeah, and isn't it like teach you like how do we just do it for your peace and yourself so that you're not attached to anyone? Isn't it like definition of
Right. So all right. So now comes the self-centered part of Theravada, which is people just go off on their own into the forest and just sit there and meditate, and they reduce their life to a bare minimum. They eat twice a day and they don't really talk much to people, and they just study, practice, and stuff like that. That's a little self-centered, but it is necessary to ensure one's peace. When we're around too many, if you make the choice, the conscious choice that you're going to be around people, then know to choose the wise and stay away from fools. And know that the teaching on timing, which is the problems we think we have time, is not wise to be around fools. Right? So you have to take all of his teaching into account in order to live a non-attached life, and in order to know when to return back to yourself. Because if you worry too much about other people, you're neglecting your own spiritual growth and development. Of which in turn the question is, do you know you? How well do you know you? You've been attached onto him, you've been attached onto her, you've been attached onto the cat. How well do you know you?
That's a real powerful topic right there.
Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So when you ask this question at night, I'm becoming more emotional, I'm becoming a little bit more sad, a little bit more anxious, a little bit more depressed, or I'm not myself lately. That's when you need to return back to yourself and realize that I just probably need a break and go to the beach by myself or the woods or the forest and just examine my experience. When you go in solitude and sit underneath a tree or at the beach to yourself, by yourself, you close your eyes, you start to hear all sorts of stories. Listen to the story and hear what's happening in your inner world. This tells you what's happening recently. The attachments, it will appear. Anything that's keeping you from living in the present moment to know what's unfolding with who you're with, how you love, when you love, where you want to go and who you want to go with, are good questions for you to examine yourself by yourself. And once you sit and you see the stories, do you see it clearly? Do you see reality right now clearly? Are you sure? See, you trust everyone else, but do you trust yourself? And when you learn to trust yourself in solitude, you can come back and love even better. Love even more, love more consciously, love in an unattached way. Um, and the word sacrifice, there's a lot of keywords in here that defines you. And you have to, and again, because you're in active relationship, you both have to define what the word sacrifice mean for each other. The shared distribution of time and shared distribution of contributions into the relationship equally, equitable, and equally, so that you don't feel like, it needs to be 50-50 as much as possible. Maybe not exact on the scale, it can tip a little bit, but no one person in the relationship should feel like it's really a burden, or I'm not getting enough attention, or what's happening here. So, and when two people fall in love, if you best want to know yourself, you would use the teachings of the Buddha to screen yourself. No different than breast cancer screening. No different than any other screenings in diagnostic testing. You would want to screen yourself, be like, am I a good wife? Because the Buddha taught how to be a good wife. The Buddha taught how to be a good husband. Do I fall under that category right now? So, we can, live close to his teachings and realize, okay, it's a non-attached way to do this without regret. What we fear here too is regret. On the spectrum, if I'm too narcissistic, egocentric, self-centered, where do I give within the spectrum so that I feel that I'm not wasting my time with this guy or girl? Okay. Or am I too lazy and I don't care too much about people? So these are the questions that you will need to answer. Maybe not now, because this is still the honeymoon phase. But later in life, when life gets a little harder, you're growing older, your body will change, your needs will change, your wants will change, and within that change is a lot of tornadoes, and you're going to need to make sense of this tornado. Again, does not matter who you're laying with at night. Okay, who you're laying with, who you're sleeping with. And the word sleep doesn't mean sex. Just literally sleeping next to whoever, your cat, your dog, your partner. You are totally alone with your thoughts. You are alone with your thoughts. You know what I mean? No matter who you're laying with at night, you are alone with your thoughts. And sometimes that can be scary if you don't do the homework now. Any confusion so far in that explanation?
Why would once be more difficult as time goes on? When you described the future 5 years from now, I understand changes, but what do you mean by things would get harder? Because if let's say you enter a relationship from a sound with a sound foundation, both sides, both party members. I mean, that strong foundation, that willingness, that development, willing to work together without regret, without there being compromise. You come headstrong, willing to take on everything. How would it get harder?
We don't know what the future holds. We don't know our economic situation, how it's going to hold up. We don't know if we want kids or not want kids. We don't know if we want to choose a religion or philosophy. We don't know how our body's going to change. you realize that until this very present day, we still don't know how the mind works fully in its entirety. And we really don't know how our body works in its entirety and fully. We can't even depend on our own bodies, nonetheless depend on anything else.
Like health wise, I could be sick. You could be sick, and then it would be more like taking care of me than just like how it used to be.
Just Saturday, I was sick, and I didn't even know I was sick. They invited me out to play sports, and I was just not myself. And during playing sports, this other guy was so quick. I was just like, what? I'm tripping right now. Hold on, let me lay down. Literally slept for 12 hours over the weekend, and I had a sore throat, and I had to buy chloroseptic. So, and then I had to remind myself, I'm like, all right, well, you're not you right now, so just take it easy. Just take it easy for a minute, and to rest. My job is not to scare you about, oh, things could change, but you have to understand that things could change, and the best way to change with time and to change together is you need to, well, what? She's cute. Cat was like, what is that?
Just playing with that.
Oh, she's just playing with the the best way is to follow the teachings because it tells you
It
what
keep-
to expect next. The Buddha tells us what to expect next, which is old age, decay, disease,
Prepare you.
and death.
Mm-hmm.
And along those stages, embrace it together. And again, the more you read, the more you realize that, wow, David, I got you. And David's like, I got you too. And we go into this thing prepared. Every institution right now has a preparedness program. Every elementary school, middle school, and high school has a preparedness for mass shooters. Unfortunately, a place of safety and education for our kids. But when shit hits the fan, them kids know how to get in underneath them tables or get in a safe room, and the teachers know exactly what to push, and everybody's away from the windows and doors, and they know exactly what to do, right? Our emergency management knows exactly what's going to happen if a tornado comes or a hurricane comes.
Yeah.
But do couples know what to do in case someone gets sick? And so on and so on.
Mhm.
But
Well, I read a little bit of the book, and it what you're describing ties in with a little bit of what I was reading. With
Happy him.
so for I think it was for 45 years the Buddha would preach that it has to do with suffering. So our suffering is like a communication or foundation for his suffering, where they can communicate and talk with each other. And so like with my father, he died from cancer. I was able to witness that decay. So that is going through life of suffering, but I was able to turn that suffering into liberation. So which what that's what the book touches on, I guess. And so that, in addition to those three cautions, you combine all that into a relationship. That seems like it would be successful if you can apply it properly, and that's genuine. So I don't have any fear of death, decay, any sort of mortal changes, because I've already experienced that, and I've been through that journey. And if I can turn that into liberation now, I can continue that if I'm genuine and I know myself.
the teachings can enhance your relationship and the experience in the intimacy of the relationship. Because two people can love better and love more when they're mindful of their words, of their thoughts, and of their actions. Small little things like those notes right here, small little things like flowers and stuff like that. But are you mindful every day, or somewhere down the line, your needs and wants will overtake? And whether or not, how much aware of that you are determines the intensity of the relationship and the quality of the relationship within those times, right? So it's gonna be ups and downs, and what we are worried for you is how much aware of it you are when we are not around to remind you. How well you remind yourself of the ups and downs when it comes. That's it. That's all it is. There's mindfulness eating, which is what you watch. Hopefully you get to watch us do that. Even though every time we come over we're quite hungry, and I'm just like, oh. There's mindfulness walking, right? Mindfulness walking. There's also mindfulness sex, because so some people, they're so anxious about what's going on tomorrow that when they're laying next to each other, they can't really enjoy each other, truly. So the teachings of mindfulness enhances that quality, and it takes such a long time for you to cultivate this quality of mindfulness. It takes a long decades. Right? We humans, we organisms, take so long to change, and to be convinced of that change, and to operate as we're changing and sustained change. So it's not like I can just give you a discourse on mindfulness and then all of a sudden tomorrow you're like aware of everything. You know what I mean? How you've lived your life before you met me is the way that it is. And that's why the dedicated Buddhists in Myanmar, they come to the monastery often, they hear often, because they realize I'm changing really slow. And that's okay. That's okay, but at least they know that. And so is church too. It's like God says, ask for forgiveness. You know, it's really hard right now because my neighbor's an asshole every day. So, but they comfort themselves by going to church, and then they realize that I'm trying to do the conversation they have with God when they're praying is, Lord, look, at least I'm here. Keep the holy Sabbath day, and at least I'm here, okay? Because, you know, Tom over there, George over there, he really upped my behind. You know? But that's a very serious conversation. When people are praying or they're confessing to the priest, you have no idea what's going through their head. Or who's living next to them, literally their neighbor. The Lord says, love your neighbor. And I'm telling you, some of them fight over the lawn. Some of them have shootings over the fence. It's like, or the property line. I've heard so many stories about property line. You know, the squirrel jumped over my side of the, I'm going to call the police. But, so it takes time to change. You get what I mean? It takes time.
Oh, yeah.
Right. The art of being human.
Right.
Do you want it?
But I think you guys are
Trying
doing.
suffering.
I think you're doing fine. The fact that you're asking these questions, it means you ask yourself when you were alone. Am I? You know, I mean, you're. If you're asking these questions to me, you're asking yourselves, and it's good. You're keeping yourself in check.
Yeah, I always like to go deep to the thoughts, and I always try to understand and like why, not overthinking, but just to understand. Because if, to me, like, I think I'm successful at what I do, I'm good at business, or I'm good at something, because I try to understand the science behind it. If I do not understand the science behind it, I can't accept it.
Mm.
I'm not saying like everything has to have a reason, but there's something I just do it because it makes me feel good.
Mm.
But sometimes when I'm dealing with any sort of problem or any sort of feelings or person, I want to understand the science behind it. Like why?
The other thing I wanted to tell you so that you don't forget is, what is the purpose in life? The purpose in life is to feel.
Mm-hmm.
Feel what? Feel things that are pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. That's what separates us from other species and creatures in the world, is the ability to feel. Consciousness, feeling, and the ability to suffer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The ability to suffer, feeling, and consciousness. So, and it's like, great, feeling, oh, now I got a man. Now I can feel with him, and he can feel with me. And we both can feel each other. So mindfulness helps you to be in tune of that quality of experience of life. Of feeling what is pleasant, knowing when it is pleasant, knowing when it is unpleasant, and knowing when things are just plateau, neutral. That's the purpose of life. Of course, that's not one definition.
Yeah.
The other definition is to also find your gift and give it back to the
Yeah.
world.
No, it's you have to understand as a human that what do you want from life? What are you doing to your life, and what is the purpose of your life? I think it's really important you ask these questions. When I met David, I've always it's just my personal experience. So I cannot make a whole judgment on a whole lot of topic based on my experience, but with my experience, it's like when I used to deal with other people before and all that, I have to kind of live in like a boundary type, like, okay, you know, let's not say this, let's not act that, let's wear this, let's do this, you know, because I am always trying to understand the other person, and I fail to understand because they are not being authentic, like they are not who they are. And like and I know that you can't really judge somebody like by not spending so much time or something, but I feel like you can notice about person by doing little things, the action of little action.
It's funny because no one wants to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
But as you are authentic and true yourself, the other person realize, oh, I don't have to really hold back because she
Yeah.
is who she is. And you know, just look
yeah.
at her. There's no way she can hurt me.
Yeah.
So they lower their walls, and that's
Yeah.
when both sides can see each other's flaws
Yeah.
and to accept them.
I see like little thing. I notice little thing, and I think people fail to see that. Just a little action, right? Like, is he like, is he cleaning your plate afterward? Is he pouring the water for you? Is he
Holding the door for you.
holding
before you
the
go
door
in.
for you?
He does that a lot.
Yeah. Is he like, you know, like making sure when you're asleep you have everything? Is it when you ask him to do something, is he like irritated about it, or he willingly doing it? I think things like that, like small matter, like small things that matter more than he buying me a gift,
Right.
or
I'll be
like
back.
like a taking me out for shopping. It's, I think you can find and know about a person by little things that you do, and to me it's like it means a lot. So like when I met David, like that wall just kind of like came down because I'm always like, hey, I'm always open because I don't have that like in my heart, and a person like hide it, that's not opening, wait 3 months rule, 6 month rule. I'm not like that, you know. I'm like, I'm in, I'm out, I'm out. And I think that black and white thing just kind of happened like how it is. And I think it balanced my life out in a way where it needs to be. Like I'm psychologically, like I'm like, okay, good things can happen to me too. Yeah, good things can happen. It's not me the problem. It was the people that I met was the problem. And that realization is something like no Buddha, no God, no movie, and nothing could come and tell you that you're not the problem. Trust me. Like you're being you. It is the people around you could be the problem. But you are like always blaming yourself because it's easy to do. It's like something happened, okay, it's me. I fucked it up. It's me, you know? And like I think like eventually what I started realizing is like it's not me. It's them. I mean, of course, I participated in that too, but I cannot just blame myself for all the outcome. And that's a realization I have had in recently, and that's what it changed me in a lot of ways. Because now one thing I learned by talking to you and a lot of things is like I have no control. I accepted that, like it is what it is. This is like my life motto now. Like sometimes I get served for something happening or big event happening. Like I mean, I got just a lawsuit from another brand. Like I got a like legal letter. It was me before. I would be like freaking out. Like what should I do? Now I'm like, I read it and I'm like, it is what it is. What's next?
She called me and she was
Flipping.
No, she was
No?
she actually cracked a joke. It was funny. We both started laughing. Yeah.
I was like,
and then I
She's
said I was
my
so
sister
proud of
can
her.
be a W.
I said
Because they asked me to elect a W, and I said I will make Michelle stand as a W to solve the problem. And I'm like, oh, I'm good because I think my marketing is reaching higher.
yeah,
people.
that's what she said.
Because big people are noticing me now, and they have to send their legal paper to me because my marketing is doing. I'm not just like a pop-up store,
Right,
and I
right.
started seeing that positivity.
Right.
Like, I am not the problem. you are intimidated by me. That's why you make
Right.
me the problem.
Right. You redirected
Yeah.
your mind alternatively.
Yeah.
Alternative thinking.
Thinking.
Right.
Yeah. And then
Everyone sues everybody in America. It's actually a joke. It's a joke. It's just like it's a scare tactic. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It takes so long for trials to take place and stuff like that. I mean, just look at Donald Trump. He doesn't care. You know.
Right. Yeah.
He just, he's like, "Are you gonna sue me?" Lawsuits.
I mean, it is. But that's how I'm seeing in my life, you know? I'm like, yes, so last month, I made some money. And this is like, I'm trying to pay my debts and everything, right? And then big things keep popping up, like legal fee, attorney fee. And then like, before I would be like, shit, I just paid off and now this, that. No.
Oh, I don't care.
And now I'm like, you know how I am? I'm like, I will make more. You know, if I can make this month, I can make more next month. I'll be fine. Money comes and go. At least I have the ability to make it.
Okay, well, right now I'm pretty attached to these fudges, so.
The one thing is we have to be careful how we talk to ourselves.
Mhm.
I mean, I've been guilty of it, and I've known people that have been guilty of it, and it's like sometimes we're really good at giving really good advice, but not taking our own advice.
Yeah.
And I've seen a couple videos, and actually in the CBT it talks about it, about how, I don't remember exactly, but I remember it was about how we talk to ourselves, and what we say to ourselves. And they give the example of the advice that you would give to a friend, or if a friend had something bad happen to them, or they messed something up. How would you speak to them? And then how would you speak to yourself if you did that?
You have to ask the question to yourself.
Because think about the advice you would give them, the compassion,
Yeah.
you're very nice speaking to them,
Yeah.
and trying to be nice, and then you mess something up in your life, and you're like, oh well, I'm dumb, I'm stupid,
Yeah.
like I'm an F up, like, and it's not good either.
That's what I used to. And that's what my mom said. This makes sense because, like, the question is in ourselves. We are the solution to a lot of problems. Like, our mind is, like, really powerful. We can create and destroy with our mind. And I think the biggest weapon is not a nuclear bomb. I think the biggest weapon is our mind. Because there is a World War II because one
Look at
factor,
Hitler, Stalin.
mind. That's what I'm saying. The
Stalin.
mind is scary, and I think religion and then karma and then all these Buddhas having like meditated all that is kind of because he know how scary the mind is. You gotta control it. You gotta have the right mindset. Because you can make a lot of like bad
Diabetes.
decisions in your life just because you have a wrong mindset.
You have to live 100 years to teach.
That's our goal, you know. I'm making sure.
Probably, I'm probably gonna live a long time.
You never know.
I think the universe got a whole agenda for me. My teacher, I seen him spoke in Vietnam, and he is really aging. And I just hope that he lives a very, very, very long time to serve the people. I think I have one of these phones, got pictures that I saved today, but yeah, I want to be with him one day. Sober reminder.
Well, I just hope. I know you have no desire in it, but you know, I also think that you, as an Asian, that's the only thing I will understand as an Asian, fellow Asian, you know. The freaking toxicity that our family put on you is crazy. Self-esteem, self-doubt. Like my mother, for example. I mean, she does it because she cares about me. I get it. Every time she sees me, she will notice my skin, my hair, the way I dress up.
Control.
Not asking me like,
How are you doing?
how are you doing?
Your hair is curly.
Curly,
Why?
why?
You need to straighten that out.
Yeah, why are you doing that? And then I will ask her, like, Mom, like, who cares about this? But apparently she cares. Apparently she cared because she want to see me looking nice because that's what makes her happy. But like, she doesn't understand that when she keep constantly telling me, I'm more conscious about that. I'm not like, if you are like telling someone about the scar, that person is going to be more conscious about the scar, you know. And not saying that my mom doesn't love me, my mom doesn't care about me. She loves me to that, but she noticed all the little things. She tell me how she feel. But at the same time, it's like, you can read. How would you feel if I have a little daughter, 7 years old daughter, and she tie her hair, and I'm like, why did you tie your hair? Doesn't look good on you. Why don't you just straighten it? And the kids are conscious. It's literally a toxicity, and I started realizing it after like get out from Myanmar when I came here, and I'm like,
Y'all still talk to your mom
oh yeah, every
She
day.
just did.
every day?
I just did.
And is she still doing the same thing?
She does, but I know her intention. If she knew that it would hurt me, she wouldn't say this to me again.
Are
But-
you starting to condition her to tell her how you feel about it?
No, I mean she's old, and I'm not trying to
Oh.
pick it up on her or like anything like that. I just listen. I get frustrated.
Your
but
job is to understand and just let it go.
I just like you know that's one of the Buddhist culture that we have, like let the elders speak and just let it go, learn to like go and not.
Those little things does not violate the Buddhist precept. That's what you tell her.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what I tell my mother. And I'm like, you're in a Buddhist country, literally, like you will see monk every corner.
You also use the teaching against her, which is, I'm not causing suffering for myself, and I'm not causing suffering to other people.
Yeah.
Does not go against the advice of the Buddha.
Yeah.
So, do I make my case and do I make myself clear? You have to use the Dhamma to protect yourself. And
Yeah.
that's how you protect yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because what she's doing to you is not in alignment with
Yeah.
the teachings.
And like started asking myself, like why I started hating talking to my mother. Like I mean I love my mother, but sometimes I don't want to talk to her because she stressed me out more. If I had a stressful day, I don't want to come home and be on hold with my phone for like it's not mean that I don't love her or like I don't think about her. It's just like it's stressful. I get angry. I don't like how I am. And it's not
I think you just have to know how to play with her.
yeah.
Which is, if you cause suffering to me, Mom,
Uh-huh.
that's bad karma.
Yeah.
So you should go to the monastery right now.
Yeah.
Like right now.
I
Because
should-
you never know when you're gonna die.
I should try
Like,
that.
Right now. You should play the game. You
yeah,
should play
I
this game.
should do that because I am like, and then I ask myself like, and I ask myself like, why I'm like that, you know? And then I started realizing like because I can't take the stress anymore. It doesn't make me feel good, and it stressed me out because I need that acknowledgement. I need that love that I don't get it the way I want it.
The Buddha gives you permission to do that. The Buddha gives you permission to say what needs to be
Yeah.
said and fix what needs to be fixed.
In all the conversation, like holding, I sent my mother a picture of me and David. I sent my mother my shop photo.
So how spicy were the potatoes?
This is what she did. She looked at it and she didn't ask me like, hey, I saw the photo.
Are you happy?
Are you happy? How is it going? No, none of that. The conversation would start from, so what, you have no time to call me? So what's going on? Why your hair is like that? Did you take this medication?
she
Did
go-
you drink hot water?
Does she go and meditate at the monastery?
She needs to. I
Okay.
have to tell her.
How long has it been since she's gone to meditate?
I mean, she used to do it. I don't know why she stopped.
Used to, how long ago?
Like,
20 years back.
yeah.
Then she's been a fool for 20 years.
Yeah. I have to tell her that. Because
I'll
it's,
tell her that.
it's
You know
not.
why? What's she gonna say? I don't need meditation. I know the Buddha. It's all about breathing in, breathing out, and accept the good karma and do the good karma.
And right now, what you're saying, Mom, is not good karma.
And when you say that, I'm not greedy. I'm not asking anything from anyone. I'm just living my simple life.
Yeah.
That's a good deed. I'm
One thing about my
doing.
mother, she followed this 5. What is
Buddha
it?
thing.
What is it? Say 5 what?
Ngapatila.
Ngapatila. What is it? 5S
Precept.
precept.
Mm-hmm.
She
Not 5, it's 8. She followed 8.
There's 10. There's
10.
10. But
Yeah.
Then there's 8.
here
and
here
there's
is
the
about
five.
my mom. She doesn't steal ever.
She doesn't do.
She doesn't have attachment to any material. She live with two clothing.
Okay, but even if she kept all 10 precepts, she's not keeping she's not living the
only
noble
with the
noble eightfold path, and under the noble eightfold path there's right speech.
Yeah.
And in the moment when you're calling her and she's not
No.
utilizing right speech,
Yeah.
then she's a fool. You don't talk to those people
I
anymore.
can't talk to her, and she never asked me. This is where the problem is, the communication, right? I've been here for 2 years, and I start to distance myself from everyone because it stressed me out. Like it really does. When
You
I
have
talk
to
to
grow
them.
some balls to tell
Yeah.
her.
I can't take
You
it.
know what I mean? Like how I tell my
I-
parents.
Of course, I.
It's
told
not
her,
disrespectful.
But what I realize is, I think she's too old to change the habit of me. And then the second most important thing is her intention. It's always good. If she's asking
That's
you,
true.
you know what, we should drink warm water every morning. It's good for your health. And
That's true.
what should I say?
Yeah.
Mommy, don't tell me every time I call you, you ask me to drink the water. What's with that?
That's appropriate, but not caring for another's how
And the way
you
she-
well, you see, this is why you have to, because you don't understand the Dhamma, you couldn't use it to defend yourself against your mother, which is you're changing, and when she see you changing with David, she doesn't know how to take that, and you have to educate her. You have to educate
she try.
her.
I mean, she tell, but like it's like I try
And
to.
I think it's all you, Shibi. It's all depend on you on how you react on it. If you know that when you call her, if your hair is like this, why you keep like this? Do like this, and then call her. Then she won't say it. She doesn't like the hair to be like in the mirror. She like the hair to be like this. So
That's control.
why don't you do that?
That's control.
I know, but if you don't want to listen her words, just do that and just call her.
It's not
easy.
the point. I understand, Pisha, what
She
you mean,
asking
but
you
like,
to drink warm water or drink this and eat that. Just say yes, I did. Simple.
But that's what I'm saying. There is no real conversation. It's
I
like
know.
just listening and accepting, and then it's like, I can't talk to her.
Yeah, but I know
She doesn't know me anymore.
Right. So now this pushes you
you're being
to
arrogant.
you have to now read the teachings of the Buddha, and you have to use it to educate her in order to have a meaningful conversation, because what she's doing is not in alignment with the
No,
Buddha.
and then I think she is getting worse because of like her brother and everyone. Like just she is in that drama surrounding. That she is. My mom is a great woman. Like I learned, if I am nice, and I learned all that because of from my mother. I cannot do wrong because I need to sleep good. When I sleep at night, I need to be like, okay, I didn't steal anything. I didn't make anyone sleep like that. That's how I need to be feeling when I sleep. So like that, I learned from my mother. My mother is a most self-sacrificing woman. She has given her last penny to other people.
All this is irrelevant. You understand
Yeah.
the consequences that you had to go through, because if the mom doesn't practice the Dhamma
Yeah.
and the daughters don't practice the Dhamma,
Yeah.
and no one knows what is right and what is just
Yeah.
and what is true,
Yeah.
this is what we have. We call this in America a shit show.
All right, everybody. I'm gonna
Oh.
go to sleep. So you all have
I'll
a
do
good
it right
night.
away. Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Good night, babe.
No brownie?
No, I'll
You
say
like
that
that.
for tomorrow.
But like,
I'm not trying to be selfish, like it looks like I'm selfish, but I'm not. Because I am
You don't have a
just-
case right
I
now.
don't have
You don't have a case right now because you didn't practice the Dhamma. She hasn't gone to the monastery
hold
in
on,
20
out,
years.
Knock out.
You know what I mean? No 20 years.
He
So
only accept who practice Dhamma and who
That's
don't
right.
with Dhamma.
so you can't blame anybody. I'm not here to take anybody's side.
Any other cases you dismiss.
Right. This is a shit show in the making all this time. And no one did anything about it. When you live in a Buddhist country and the teaching is there, you didn't use it for your own advantage.
That's why I'm gonna go next. Like at the end of this year, I'm gonna go to Yangon, and I'm gonna talk to my mother about this.
Well, you from now until then, you better start studying.
I have to start reading so that I can tell her. Like,
Yes,
what
and
is
stop
what-
kissing.
That's
You can't study if you keep on kissing David. So kiss less and study more. Nobody wants to hear that. Yes.
Man, please have my water back.
Oh, you're gonna have your water back. All right. Hope you all enjoy it. Visit my YouTube.
Did you like the food, Wong?